So we'll sit like we usually do. Just kind of take a moment, get yourself situated, nice straight spine as much as possible. Relaxed shoulders, relaxed jaw, maybe eyes closed. Just take a big inhale through your nose, big sigh through your mouth, and just settle into your skin. So being super aware of every part of you, the good and the even better, and anything that needs a little bit of assistance from you, acknowledge that too. Let's go ahead and start breathing deeper and slower. Ujjayi breath is great if you can do that. And then go ahead and check in with your thoughts, emotions, and energy. And then bring your palms together in front of your heart and take a moment to set your intention for your practice. When you're clear, take a deeper breath in. Big exhale. Good. So however you're sitting is fine. If you're cross-legged, great. If your legs are out in front of you, great. Doesn't matter. I want you to just kind of gently walk your hands forward for a moment. So might be a seated forward bend with legs crossed, or maybe with legs straight. Just take a moment. Maybe even move slightly side to side. Kind of feel how the low back and the hips are feeling. And then just walk your hands back up. Bring your hands behind you. Lift your chest, push it forward and up. See how things are feeling there. And then transition onto your hands and knees. And we'll go ahead and just start some traditional cat-cows. So inhaling is the arching movement, and exhaling is the round movement. Just follow your breath. And then if you want to, maybe a little side to side movement, maybe even a little wagging of the tail or circling of the hips. And then take a child's pose. Scoot forward into Sphinx. And then when you're ready, take your first downward facing dog. And just kind of feel into your down dog. You can pedal the feet a little bit if you need to. Then really kind of notice what's going on around the back of the thighs, front of the hips, sides of the hips, your glutes. Just kind of feel it all. And walk your feet forward. As you get to the front of the mat, keep your knees bent. And we'll just drape over our thighs and ragdoll. Make sure your neck is relaxed. You just want your head hanging so that it can help lengthen the spine with every out breath. On your next inhale, arms up and overhead. As you exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach your arms up, stretch. Exhale, fold forward to your standing forward bend. Inhale, look up and lengthen halfway. Exhale back down. Step back with your left foot. And just hold your lunge for a couple of breaths here. Bring your left knee down. Let's go ahead and bring the arms overhead. We're going to tuck the tailbone slightly, lift the chest, and just start letting the hips move forward till we feel the front of the left hip opening. So tilting the pelvis back will help you open up front of the left hip. Take a couple more breaths here. Hands down, extend your right leg, flex the ankle and toes. And then from here, we'll just take the right knee back to meet the left knee. Those of you doing full vinyasas, please feel free to start taking them now. So child's pose for the rest of us. And then slide into another Sphinx. Just lengthen out. And then from here, downward facing dog. From this down dog, take a big step forward with your left foot. And then we'll drop the right knee down. Arms are gonna come up and overhead, pelvis tilts back, and then we let the hips move forward. So again, we're just trying to find a nice amount of stretch in the front of the right hip. Keeping the pelvis tilted enhances that. Hands come down and we extend the left leg, stretching into that left hamstring. And then from here, step forward to your standing forward bend. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, palms together at your heart. Inhale, arms up and overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway. And then exhale back down. And this time we're going to step back with our right foot and just hold your lunge for a moment. Drop your right knee down. Left hand is going to go on the inside of the left kney. You're going to roll to the outside edge of your left foot and gently apply some pressure so that you feel this in your outer left hip. You might feel it a little bit in the inner left thigh. Both of those are good because we are working the hips all the way around. So front of the hips, back of the hips, side of the hips, inner thighs, the whole shebang. 360 degrees of hips. Bring your left hand down inside your left foot. Your knee can point at the ceiling again. See if you can come onto your right forearm, maybe both, maybe use blocks. Those of you that are feeling extra spunky today can turn right toes under and take the right knee off the ground again if you want, but you don't have to. Drop the right knee down if it was up and take your left leg back so you can take child's pose. You may, of course, take a vinyasa if that's what you're doing for your practice today. From your child's pose, you'll scoot forward into space. And then from there, move into downward facing dog. Big stretch in your down dog. And then step forward with your right foot. We'll drop left knee down, right hand goes to the inside of the right knee. You're gonna roll to the outside edge of your right foot and press on the inside of your right knee. So again, we're trying to get sensation in the outer hip and the inner thigh. And remember, breath by breath, it changes. So maybe you give yourself more pressure after a couple of breaths or maybe less. And then from here, we'll bring our right hand down inside the right foot and come on to your left forearm, perhaps both, maybe a block. If you would like, you can turn left toes under and take left knee up off the ground, but you certainly don't have to. And then hands to the mat, step forward to your standing forward bend. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, palms together. Turn sideways on the mat, take a big wide side step, toes pointing directly forward. For now, hinge at your hips. You can either grab your elbows or you can let your arms come to the ground or grab your toes, whatever makes you happy right here, but relax your neck and just hang for a couple of breaths. And then come back onto your hands. And you're just gonna bend your right knee and kind of walk your hands towards the right foot a little bit. You should feel an inner thigh stretch on the left. That's kind of what we're shooting for. And then walk your hands back towards your left foot. Now you should feel an inner thigh stretch on the right side. Come back to the center. Be very mindful of knee issues, please. You can repeat what we just did, or you can rotate the right foot out a little bit. This time as you walk your hands over, let the left toes point at the ceiling and take a deeper side lunge if you can. Hands can stay down. You want to keep your right foot flat. This is all about this left leg. And then you can put the left foot down and walk your hands over towards it, letting right toes come to the ceiling if that's what you're doing. Or you can just do that same side lunge that we did a moment ago. Take one more breath. Come back to the center. Go ahead and bend the knees. Put your hands on your thighs. Make sure both feet are rotated out a little bit here. I want you to try and get both arms straight. So you may need to raise up a little bit. The idea is this: bend your knees fairly deeply and just start leaning forward with the arms straight. Now, not enough that you tip over onto your head. Be mindful of balance here. But the idea is the farther forward we lean, the more horizontal we get, the more we stretch the inner thighs. Take one more breath. And then come on up. And you should be grateful for that. That was your alternative to full-on frog pose on the ground. So maybe it doesn't seem so bad now. All right, you're going to rotate your left foot in and your right foot all the way out and come into warrior two. Left hand on left thigh, right arm up and over. All the way back up, right leg straightens. We lengthen the ribcage out and come into triangle pose. So wherever that is for you today, go into it mindfully. Again, you know what we're trying to open here. So in your triangle pose on this right side, you should feel left hip opening, right side of the spine lengthening, right inner thigh, and hamstring. Come all the way back up. Rotate your right foot in and your left foot out. Bend your left knee, warrior two. Right hand on your right thigh, left arm up and over, reverse your warrior. Come all the way back up. Straighten your left leg. Lengthen your rib cage. Find your triangle pose on the left side. And so now if you're aligned and everything's kind of where it should be, you should feel the right outer hip stretching, left inner thigh, and maybe the left hamstring a little bit. Left side of the spine is lengthening. Come all the way back up. Rotate the feet forward again. So now your feet are parallel. Bend forward, hands to the mat if you can. And don't worry, you're not doing the full frog pose, so don't hold back. I have nothing up my sleeve. Walk your feet out a little bit if you can. Take a couple of breaths. If you feel like you can go even farther, go farther. A couple more breaths, this is it. I'm not gonna spring any surprises on you. And then you can just kind of toe heel your feet in. Come all the way up to standing with the arms up and overhead. And as you exhale, come back to the front of the mat. Inhale, reach your arms up and stretch. Exhale and fold forward. Look up halfway and lengthen. And then back down. I'm gonna have you step straight back to downward facing dog. Stretch back, lengthen. Take your right leg straight back behind you. And then bend your right knee and roll your right hip bone open towards the ceiling. This is downward facing scorpion. Now, you're going to take your right leg underneath you just for a moment. And then bring it back out again. Downward facing scorpion. And then put your right foot back down. Take your left leg up in the air. Bend your left knee. Roll your left hip bone open. For just a moment, bring the left leg underneath you. Take it back out. One more time, left leg underneath you. Take it back out. Left foot down, full on down dog. And then drop to your knees. All right, so I know there are a couple of you out there who have knee issues. We're gonna be doing some pigeon. And so if you do have knee issues, my suggestion is to flip onto your back and do a reclined figure four or reclined pigeon. And then when all that stuff's done, you can rejoin us, all right? For the rest of you guys that feel like you can do pigeon, go back into your down dog. Right leg straight behind you. Go ahead and bend your knee and roll your hip bone open. This time as you swing your right leg underneath you, bend it, put it down, and slide your left leg back until you feel your right glute stretch. Come onto your forearms. Take a couple of breaths. Make sure your pelvis stays parallel to the ground. If you feel like you can flatten out all the way. If you need to, you can also support yourself on blocks. So this can go either way. And then from here, if you're in pigeon with me, keep your legs like they are. Come up onto your hands. Just see if it works for you. It may or may not. If you can, your left hand is going to come to the center of the mat. Your right hand is going to reach back and grab your left foot or ankle and gently pull it towards your right glute. Now, if you are tucking your tailbone and your left arm is straight, what you should feel is a rather exciting stretch on the front of your left hip and maybe even the top of the left thigh. Let's take one more breath here. And then release your left foot if you've got it. Go straight back into downward facing dog. Stretch for a moment. That same leg, your right leg, is going to go up in the air. You're going to bend your right knee, but this time I want you to just draw a circle or two in each direction. And then we'll put the right foot back down.
Left leg goes up, bend the knee, roll the hip bone open. We are going into pigeon on the left. Swing your left leg underneath you.
Put it down, slide your right leg back. So for those of you who are on your back doing a figure 4 stretch, now you want your left leg on top. You should be feeling it in your left glute. If you're in pigeon, see if you can come onto your forearms or maybe even flatten out. Come back up onto the hands. So this time your right hand's gonna stay in the middle of the mat. You're gonna reach back with your left hand, if you can, for your right foot or ankle. Keep your pelvis tilted back and gently pull your right foot towards your left glute. Again, if you're kind of aligned here, what you should feel is front of the right hip, maybe the top of the right thigh. Release it out. Go straight to downward facing dog. Figure 4 people can join us in down dog. Left leg goes up again, bend the knee, just a couple of circles in each direction with that bent left knee, just opening up that hip, left foot down. Everybody drop to your knees and give yourself a nice little tail wag. And then child's pose, or you may take a vinyasa. From child's pose, we scoot forward into Sphinx. Take a moment, really lengthen out. And then downward facing dog. Make sure you are pressing through the palms, lengthening, lengthening, lengthening. And then go ahead and walk your feet forward to your standing forward bend. Inhale the arms up. And exhale, bring your hands together in front of your chest. And it's time to balance. Yay! So we're going to be doing just basic traditional tree pose today. You're going to stand on your right foot first, preferably. If balance is a little challenging today, left toes are on the ground, left heel is at the ankle. But regardless, remember, we've got hips happening today. So the idea is not a lazy left leg, but a very engaged left outer hip. If you feel like you can, your left foot can be at your calf, or you can bring it all the way up to the right thigh. We don't want to hang out on the right hip. We want to keep right hip engaged, left hip is engaged, so this knee is really strongly pressing back. And then we just bring our palms together in front of our heart. One more breath. And release your left foot down to the floor. So we're doing the same thing on the other side. Remember, you can have your toes on the ground and still have that hip engaged. So if you need to modify, please do. Otherwise, find wherever you're comfortable. Right foot is somewhere on the left leg. Your left hip is very engaged, your right hip is very engaged, and your palms come together. One more breath. And release, right foot comes back down. Nice job. So when our hips are really engaged, it kind of helps keep us stable. Bring your feet together, bring your palms together. Inhale, reach the arms up and stretch. Exhale, all the way forward. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, back down. Step back onto your hands and knees.
So if you were in a reclined figure 4 earlier and you missed some of that range of motion, you get to do it now on all fours. You're gonna keep your right knee bent, but stick your right leg out to the side. And I want you to draw 3 big circles in the air with your right knee in each direction. So you're really getting lots of mobility in that right hip. When you've gone 3 in each direction, put your right knee down. You can give yourself a tail wag if you need it. Left knee is gonna stick out to the side, it stays bent. And we do 3 big circles with the left knee in each direction. As you finish that out, bring the left knee down. Take a child's pose. Allow the glutes to stretch out along with your low back. Couple more breaths. And then scoot into a Sphinx or a Cobra. And then downward facing dog. So from this down dog, we're gonna take our feet forward and have a seat. We still have lots of the hip work to do, but we're gonna take a moment in Dandasana and just check in. So I want you to feel where your sit bones are. Make sure that your spine is straight. You can have your hands on the ground to help you with that. Your legs should be very active. We just kind of want to check in, see how things are going so far. And then from here, just bring your hands a little farther back behind you. Bend your knees, but put your feet wide, like just outside the mat. Sometimes we do this on our back. We're gonna do it seated today. On your next exhale, just drop both of your knees over to your right. And gently press that left knee into the mat. I suggest you flex the left ankle. So you might feel that a little bit in your left outer hip. Bring the knees up and take them over to the left. So flex your right ankle, press your right knee into the mat. One more time on each side. Come on up, take the knees to the right. Just trying to get some gentle outer hip stretching. Bring the legs back up, drop them over to your left. Bring the legs back up. This time you're gonna keep them wide and just prop the knees together. See how that feels? And then extend your legs out. You're gonna keep the right leg straight. Bring your left foot to the inside of the right thigh. Lean out over your right leg. Just take a few breaths here. Come on up from that. Left ankle across right thigh. Flex the left ankle. Lean out over your right leg again. Come on up from that. You're gonna put your hands behind you, push to the ground for that straight spine. Bend the right knee and scooch up. So if you did figure 4 stretch earlier or reclined pigeon, then you've already done this, but now you're doing it in the seated position. If you did face down pigeon with me, now you're doing it, but in the seated position. So the same rules apply. Left ankle is flexed, spine is straight. If you want to, you are welcome to reach around and grab your right shin, but the idea is not to hunch and round the back, but rather use that as leverage to pull length into the spine and pull the chest towards that left shin. One more breath here. And then we're going to bring the hands behind us again if they're not still there. Drop the legs to the right. Your whole left foot's gonna hit the ground. You're gonna twist to your left. Now, as we come out of this, move your right foot forward a little bit and just see if you can stack your shins, stack your logs, Agni Stambhasana. Both ankles should be very flexed. You lean forward if you can for a couple of breaths. And then just depending upon your body, if you are able, I want you to take this left leg and bring it all the way across, trying to get your knees to stack. I don't do this beautifully, so don't look up at your screen. Gomukhasana legs, cow face, left knee should be stacked on top of right. Ankles are still flexed. Some of you can lean forward if you have tighter hips like I do. You're basically just trying to get that left glute all the way flat on the ground again. Take one more breath here. I know that's a lot. Unwind your legs, extend them out in front of you. Give them a nice little wiggle because we have to do all of that on the other side. So we're gonna keep the left leg straight, right foot comes to the inside of the left thigh, lean out over your left leg for a few breaths. And then come on up from that, take your right ankle on top of the left thigh, flex the ankle, lean out again. And then come on up from that, hands behind you for a nice straight spine. Bend your left knee, right ankle stays flexed, and you scooch up. So again, it's a seated figure four, a seated pigeon. Chest is lifted and moving forward, and you use your hands for leverage. Now, if you like, you can grab the left shin and lift the chest even more and pull it forward. The choice is yours. You don't have to do that. You can have your hands on the floor. All you're looking for here is the best stretch in your right glute. And from here, we're gonna bring our hands back onto the ground, let that left knee drop over till the whole right foot hits the ground. And you're gonna twist to your right. Now, as we come out of the twist, left foot's gonna move forward a little bit, and we're gonna stack the right shin on top of the left, stack our fire logs, both ankles flex. If you can, you lean forward a little bit. And then come on up from that. Now, again, if you can, your right leg is gonna slide all the way over on top of your left. Again, Gomukhasana legs. Some modern yogis call it knee pile, which is a good name. Right glute is back down. For those of you who are doing this easily, you may lean forward. The rest of us are just gonna try and get our knees to actually stack and get our right glute on the ground. Take one more breath here. And then you may unwind and extend your legs out. Give them a good wiggle. From here, we're gonna lean out over both legs. So make sure you're on your sit bones. Lengthen out first. Even if you wanna round your back, you lengthen first. And then it's up to you if you wanna curl down or stay neutral spined, but just lean out over both legs. Come on up from that. Take your legs wide, nice and wide. Flexed ankles, toes pointing straight up. So it is completely up to you. If you have tight hips, you're gonna have to have your hands behind you for that super straight spine to press the chest forward. If you don't need to have your hands behind you, you can bring your hands in front of you. You can grab your toes or put your hands on your shins. It's whatever feels good to you, but the idea is to pull the chest forward rather than hunching around, and don't drop your head. Keep the head basically neutral, so it's kind of like your chin stays parallel to the floor as you try and get your body to lengthen forward. And then you just breathe and let gravity do what it does. Make sure your legs stay active. Come on up from that. We're going to keep the knees wide from the soles of the feet together. Hands are right by your backside. Chest is lifted, the knees press out to the side and down towards the floor. And then you can release that, extend your legs, give them a good wiggle. From here, you're gonna go ahead and roll onto your back. Hug the knees in and rock side to side. And then we're gonna take the feet wider than the mat again. So we did this seated, but now we're going to do it reclined so you can get a little extra if you need it. So we're going to drop the knees to the left, kind of gauge how that right outer hip feels. Maybe take a look at the alignment to make sure your right ankle stays flexed and your right knee is happy. Then if you feel like you're wanting to do it, put your left foot on top of the right knee and then relax your left leg so it's kind of pulling on that right leg. What you should feel is right side of the hip, the IT band. You should not feel your low back. If you're feeling it in your low back, try and get both glutes relatively flat. So you want both shoulder blades flat. You're not trying to do a twist here. Take one more breath. And then the left foot goes back outside the left side of the mat when we drop both legs over to the right. Again, just take a moment to assess how the left hip is feeling. Maybe double check that left alignment. So you really want a straight line from your left armpit all the way down to your left knee. You want 90 degrees of the left knee and you want that left ankle flexed. Then if you decide it's a good idea, you put your right foot on top of the left knee. Totally relax the right leg. So the weight of the leg just provides a little bit of extra stretch or emphasis in that left outer hip. Remember, you should not feel this in your back. You want to feel the hip. It might even be the top of the left thigh. And then take the right foot back outside the mat to the right. Keep your feet wide, prop your knees together. And then you can just hug both knees in, give them a good squeeze. You're welcome to rock side to side, I always do. Keep your right knee hugged in. Extend your left leg all the way out onto the ground. Then I want you to flex your right ankle. Grab your right foot with your left hand. Now, the first thing you're going to do is just make sure your right ankle is flexed. See if you can open your right knee up to about 90 degrees. And then the idea is to gently start to pull your right foot towards your left armpit. And this might feel great, just like this. It might be all you want to do. If you want to feel a little more in the hip, you can take your right hand onto your right thigh and gently press it out. Because you're free with this movement in your right leg, you can adapt and change this to feel just the way you want it to feel. So play with it, maybe the knee towards the midline more, maybe less, maybe you push on the right thigh, maybe you don't, you decide. 2 more breaths here. And then we're gonna go ahead and put this right foot down on the outside edge of the left thigh or leg. So your right foot's crossed over the left. Your right arm's gonna open out to the right. If it's okay with your back, you're gonna use your left hand on the right outer thigh or knee to pull yourself over into a nice deep twist that might also get you through that right hip and glute and outer thigh. Take a few breaths. If this is too much on your back, bend both knees and that'll make it a lot gentler. If it's all right with your neck, your head would be turning to the right. On your next inhale, roll onto your back, and as you exhale, hug your right knee in one more time. Bring your left knee up to meet it, give yourself another side to side rock if you want to, and then keep your left knee hugged in and extend your right leg all the way out onto the ground. Flex your left ankle, that's so important by the way. If you can, you're gonna grab your left foot with your right hand. You keep your left ankle flexed, it's very important. See if you can open the left knee up to maybe about 90 degrees, and then you just start to gently pull your left foot towards your right armpit. Now this is where you get to kind of fine tune and play with it to get just the right amount of sensation. So if you want, your left hand can go on the inside of the left thigh and you can press on it. Or you can pull your leg more towards the midline or less. Like you can kind of play because you're not lying over your leg, right? Like in pigeon, this is like pigeon on your back. And so you have the freedom to move this left leg around and like, oh, there, find just the right stretch. Breathe, couple more breaths. You should feel this in your left glute, left hip. And then we're gonna put the left foot down on the outside of the right thigh. Left arm opens out to the left. If you can, your right hand is on the outside of your left knee or thigh, and you're using it to pull yourself over into a twist. So again, same thing applies. If this feels like too much on your back, bend both knees. If you're cool with it, turn your head to the left. On your next inhale, come on back up, and as you exhale, hug your left knee in. Bring your right knee up to meet it and rock side to side. So for our inversion, we're going to do bridge, and I really want you to use it as a front hip opener. So today is going to be a little different. Today, instead of me making you put your big toes to touch and your heels to separate, which I always do, I'm mixing it up a little bit. You're just gonna have your feet parallel, not too wide though, please. And then before you lift up, I want you to flatten your back. So that means your pelvis is tilted back. You're gonna keep that. It's like that tucking under of the tailbone. I want you to keep your tailbone tucked, so to speak, and begin to lift your hips.
and lift as high as you want to go. It's completely up to you. But then I want you to keep trying to tilt your pelvis back. You should feel your buns tightening really tight. And I want you to really push your pubic bone up. You should be able to start to feel the stretch on the front of your hips. If you need more, you keep pushing through the heels, squeezing your buns, tilting the pelvis, lifting the hips. When you feel that stretch, 2 more deep breaths. And then you can slowly lower down. Hug your knees in, rock side to side. And then reach down, grab your feet or ankles, and happy baby. So today, your happy baby really should let you know how much work you've done around the hips. I'm hoping that as you wiggle around and move, you find yourself thinking, ooh, that feels pretty good. Wow, I'm quite open now. Things are fluid. Things are lubricated and warm and pliable. So take a few more breaths, just doing whatever you need to do. And if you need to do something besides happy baby or other than, please feel free to. And then when you're ready, put your feet on the mat. Let your knees drop open with the soles of the feet together and just rest like this for a moment, completely passive. So there's a natural arch in your back. We're just gonna hang here for about 3 breaths and let the weight of the legs give you that final inner thigh and groin stretch. And then we'll lengthen the low back. So on your next inhale, you're pressing your low back into the mat. Yet again, it's tilting the pelvis back. So you should feel contact between your entire back and your mat. And then the next time you breathe out, just relax and release. Now you've got some space between you and the mat where your low back is. So one more time, we're going to remove the space. On your next inhale, flatten your back, press it into the mat. Hold it, hold it, hold it. And then the next time you breathe out, relax. Begin to extend your legs. You might want to do a little internal, external rotation, like roll them in and out, wiggle them a little bit. And then relax, let your feet flop, let your legs flop. Make sure your buns feel nice and soft and relaxed. Your spine feels long, your shoulders are relaxed, your hands are palms up, somewhere down below your heart. Your jaw is relaxed, your forehead is smooth, your eyes are closed. Take a deep breath in. Big sigh. Just begin to feel your body releasing layer by layer. You'll feel your body soften enough that it causes your breath to become really shallow and soft. And then you'll notice that your mind kind of relaxes too. And that allows us to just really be present in this moment right now, right here. It allows us to feel that we really don't have to be anywhere else right this second. We really don't have to do anything.
we can let go of all of our expectations or ideas about how this moment should be, because it's really exactly as it should be. It's already perfect. We don't have to change anything. In all honesty, at any given moment, everything's already perfect. It just is as it is. We're the ones who ascribe meaning to certain moments and label them good or bad or tasteful or distasteful, etc. And the truth is, that's not the case. Every moment's actually really perfect, and it just is what it is. It just is. So for the next few minutes, I would love for you to simply rest in this moment, knowing, recognizing that it's absolutely perfect. If you feel like you've allowed yourself to get involved in a thought, that's okay. Just come back to the moment. Come back to right now, right here. In this beautiful, perfect moment, you can just be. Everything's okay. Just come back to that. And so just beginning to feel back into your bodies. Beginning to move your fingers and toes and deepen your breath and do that little stretch with your inhale and relax as you exhale. Do all that good yummy stuff. I always suggest a full body stretch on a big inhale. It's the best. And then relax again as you exhale. Hug the knees into the chest today. Just give them a good squeeze, that final little hip stretch. And then roll to your right side and press up to sitting. And so as you come to your seated position, just take a moment and bring yourself right back into this moment. So often we're so focused on getting ahead to the next thing that we miss the moment that we're actually living in. So this moment right now, really it's all we have, right? The past is done. The future hasn't happened yet. We only live in real time in the moment. So it's very nice to come back to that moment and appreciate it and just know that this is it and it's perfect, right? So today, in light of all of that, our breath work is kind of a non-breath work. I think I've done it with you once or twice. It's called Aham Graha, which means no effort, no grasping. There's nothing. You don't have to do anything. You're not actually going to control your breath with this type of breath work. So just Have that straight aligned spine, close your eyes. Don't control your breath. It's probably still quite soft and maybe even shallow because of Shavasana. So just notice your breath. And then start to feel the breath as it moves up in the sinuses. Notice that it kind of moves as though it's moving towards your third eye point between the eyebrows. And while you're noticing that, also become aware of the expansion in the heart as you inhale. Remember, don't lengthen or manipulate the breath. You're just doing your normal little breath, but you're aware of the breath in the nose moving towards the third eye point and the expansion of the heart all at the same time. Slowly bring your palms together in front of your heart. Take a moment in gratitude for the miraculous body that you currently inhabit. You were here today, you did yoga. That in and of itself is a miracle. Your body is phenomenal, even if it has a glitch every now and then. Your body's phenomenal. Be grateful for that. Be grateful for these sweet, natural breaths that we breathe with no effort that keep these bodies alive. Have gratitude for your mind, your awareness that allows you to appreciate your body and your breath and this perfect moment that you're living in. And finally, have gratitude for your heart, your beautiful divine heart that understands by being open, love and compassion can flow both ways. Take one more really deep breath in through the nose. Happy sigh through the mouth. Palms to the forehead, just reminding us to be present, to be in the moment, the perfect moment, so that we can appreciate it. Palms to the lips to remind us to speak our truth. And palms to the heart, reminding us of our beautiful hearts that let love flow. Thank you for joining me today. I always appreciate practicing with you. Namaste.